Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. I am delighted that you're here. I'm pleased that you found me. It is July 26th, and I have a question. I want to know exactly how compromised Mitch McConnell is. There is a lot of talk right now going on about the fact that the Russian interference continues. It is not slowing down. You know, more states were tampered with than was first reported. And there sits Mitch McConnell saying, yeah, no, not interested in bringing anything to the floor, not even for debate, never mind a vote, that has anything to do with securing our elections. So what's the reason behind that, Mitch? What's going on? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a deeper dive into just Mitch. And let's see if we can figure out what's going on there. Okay, so come on down. Okay, focus in on good old Mitch there. All right, so Mitch McConnell compromised. Mitch McConnell compromised. Mitch McConnell compromised. Okay. Well, okay. So one is Russia, one is China. There are two adversaries that are pulling and pushing at him. And but it's not really that it's not going to be that difficult a choice for him, because as long as he keeps the blinders on and he doesn't acknowledge, because he does notice it. He's not stupid. He sees what's going on. He just chooses not to acknowledge it. It keeps him on his little power throne. So that's the story there. There's two different sources of the compromise. They are not as they're not as opposite. They're not pulling him in opposite directions as much as he just is mindful of the fact that there are these two sets that are controlling him. He has a lot of secrets, boy, oh boy, and he doesn't want those secrets out, because even he recognizes that between him and his wife, this could just bring them down and destroy them. For right now, he feels that he's in the position of power. He is, leader of the Senate. He feels that he is firmly and safely entrenched in Kentucky because he has the resources coming in to keep him in position, to keep him strong. That is his thinking. Yeah. So you have partnerships here, alliances from across the water, holding secrets, and allowing him to defeat anything that opposes him or anything that he does not want to come before him, whether that is a bill on the Senate floor or that is somebody challenging him, although he is being challenged. And that's a good thing. It just, I guess, remains to be seen whether the challenge is sufficient enough to actually knock him off his little throne. Yeah. So, between his own really corrupted and thoughts about his own power, and you know what? We can hate him, and I'm on that list, but he is powerful. I mean, he managed to keep Obama completely hamstrung for the last sort of 4 years, for sure. He couldn't get, or the last 2 years of his thing, if I got that right, it could have been 4. He was able to just hamstring him. He wouldn't let anything go through. So he ultimately has, in some kind of really twisted ways, more power than the president. And he sees that, and he recognizes that, and he likes that. He has too many money secrets, and he's too greedy about money to let go of what he's doing. And he doesn't care anymore if justice is served. He simply wants justice served his way. That's why he is loading up the courts. And yeah, he's going to hide as long as he can, and he really does fear the illumination of being found out, of being exposed. So this is interesting, and I'll tell you why, because I had a flash this morning, and I kind of want to share it with you. So I'm going to just do a tangent right now. We're going to leave these cards in place. So I've had this thought rolling around in my head for a couple of weeks. And, when I get a flash like that, I tend to sort of sit back and kind of, I process it, I acknowledge it, and then I just sit back and I see if it comes around again and again. And at that point, I know that the energy surrounding the flash or the insight that I got continues to build. So then it's time to, verbalize it and say it. So this is the thing. We know Mitch McConnell is compromised by the Chinese and by the Russians. We're like almost positive of that. So the question becomes, what is the strategy when it comes to Trump? Because Mitch McConnell has gone out of his way to not actively oppose things unless they're really, really extreme. But when he's pushed, when he's pressured, his go-to response is, I have no opinion on that, or I have nothing to say about that. So he's not, in a really obvious way, contradicting Trump. So Trump sees that sort of as him being on his side. And yet he's not, he's just keeping himself out of it. Like he's trying to hide behind like a wall of glass. So I can see everything that goes on, but I don't really have to be involved. So this was the flash. Is it possible that McConnell's strategy boils down to this? If we give Trump enough rope, he'll hang himself. He'll cause so much divisiveness and create so many issues and become more and more erratic and more out of control and his numbers are terrible, right? The poll results are horrible. So let's just sit back and let's just let this unfold, giving Trump enough room to hang himself. Because if the last little while has taught Mitch anything, it is that as head of the Senate, he has incredible, incredible power. So he's already managed to stack the courts. He's already got the big tax break-in. They're doing everything they can to dismantle and destroy immigration and healthcare. They're not doing anything about, pharmaceutical prices. So he is in a position of power and authority. So what if the strategy boils down to this? Let's let Trump basically hang himself. We don't need a Republican president anymore. We got him to do all the dirty work we wanted him to do. And now if he just goes down in a big ball of gassy flame, that's fine, because you know what Mitch figured out is that as long as he can hold the Senate, he can control everything. He hamstrings the House because he won't bring their bills to the floor. With a Democratic president, he hamstrings him because he won't let him get any of the big initiatives done. So McConnell stays in power even with a Democratic president. So let's just roll this out a little longer. So 2020, a Democrat gets elected. 2024, there's another election rolling around. That Democratic president has not been able to accomplish anything because McConnell held the House. So people get frustrated and they get annoyed, and they're looking at Mr. President and they're saying, buddy, we elected you in 2020 to fix the problem and you're not fixing it. And all he can say, or she can say, is Mitch McConnell is blocking me at every turn. Well, you know what? Mitch figured out that with Obama, nobody actually cared if he was blocking him at every turn. There wasn't a lot of fuss and screaming because the Democrats don't fuss and scream. So he was able to forward his agenda. It sounds a little bit like a conspiracy theory, I'll grant you, but it also makes an incredible sense the way the insight was given to me. He doesn't need the president. He doesn't need a Republican president anymore. And if we know one thing about Mitch, and we certainly have found out one thing about the Republicans, is they play the long game. They're not interested in this election. They're interested in the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And right now, McConnell is compromised. He's being pushed and pulled by two powerful countries. And he knows he's compromised by them. And he knows that they hold all the power. And so he can just stand firm and do nothing. And that furthers the agenda of those other countries. But he also seems to be pretty secure in the fact that should he not get a Republican president in the next election, he doesn't really need one, does he? Because he's figured out exactly how powerful he is. And no one has figured out how to break his power, right? The only way to break his power is to not re-elect him. Kentucky, you can't do that, because what you're going to end up creating is an environment that is no longer a democracy. It's just not. What is going to happen in that case is that you end up with specific people holding massive amounts of power and control over everybody else. That's not how a democracy works. So, just a thought. I'm not seeing anything in my cards that actually suggests that I'm wrong, but it would definitely explain a lot of his reluctance to do anything to slow down the interference of the Russians and any other country like China or Iran or anybody else who wants to interfere in the election, because it serves him to keep that money rolling in. One, he's compromised, okay? Whether the Russians have stuff from the RNC, whether they've got personal stuff, it doesn't matter. The guy's compromised on both sides. So they have him under control. All they have to do is create enough distractions, do enough interference type behaviors, and Mitch will get in again. And in doing that, he has more power than really the president or the House, because he has a way of sort of controlling them both. So, just a thought. One down. Okay, so what we have here again is there is a desperate need to try to rebalance the power within the country. But that rebalancing the power structures can almost get lost in the push forward desire to just change, just make changes and make it work. And that's exactly what old Mitch is counting on. He is counting on that everybody will get so distracted screaming about impeachment and, distracted by this and distracted by that, that they're not really paying all that much attention to the fact that old Mitch is not doing one thing to secure the United States from foreign interference. Now, it's starting to get some play on television. More and more people are saying, what is going on with him? Why is he not doing what he absolutely should be doing? And that crescendo is going to pick up, but it's not going to pick up huge because people get distracted by the next crazy, insane thing that goes on. So it's boiling down to this. I absolutely see Trump not being reelected in the next election, and I see a Democrat getting in, holding office. If it is not, if flipping the Senate does not happen, you've got kind of more of the same, right? You have somebody holding so much control that in the day-to-day functioning, he really doesn't seem to be able to, he seems able to control. So I guess this is the bottom line. And this is going to be kind of my new little personal catchphrase. If 2018 was a blue wave, 2020 has to be a blue tsunami. It has to wipe out those people that are most intensely corrupted. Because as long as you have powerful, corrupted people in powerful positions, they still have the power to control the agenda. So, I don't know that that was really good news, frankly. A little concerning, and I'm Canadian. But it is a concern, right? I mean, people need to be focused. They need to not get distracted, and they need to start mobilizing and make sure that the blue wave of 2018 just looked like a little wave. Because what's coming forward for 2020 is that much more powerful, because otherwise, according to the insights I'm getting, it's going to be, kind of more of the same with different players. So, let's start considering the idea of a blue tsunami. Let's keep our eye on the ball and not get distracted by distractions. And those who can, start pressuring Republican senators to start pressuring Mitch to do that which is right and safeguards your elections. So, let's start working towards that tsunami, okay? Until the next time, take care, be well, and we'll see you really soon. Bye.